Welcome to Failed Forward, a podcast for professionals who are wondering, how the hell did I get here?
Join your host, Rachel Durkin, and me, Donna Miller, as we discuss the messy, bumpy, and often unattractive journey to success.
After all, if it isn't hard to do, is it really worth doing? Hello, and welcome to Failed Forward, a podcast for those of us who are wondering, how the hell did I get here? I'm Rachel Durkin, joined by my co-host, Donna Miller. Donna, introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. Donna Miller here, president of C3 Workplace and founder of Donna Miller Business Growth Consulting. So, Rachel, you didn't tell us who you're with.
I'm with Paradigm Marketing and Design. We are a web marketing, branding, and sales enablement agency that specializes in working with clients with a complex sale to help them shorten their sales cycle and increase the number of meetings their sales team is having. And I am so excited for today's guest, who is going to share an awesome story with us on the hot, messy path to success.
Yes, so Karen Yankovich, thank you so much for joining us today.
I'm so happy to be here. Any chance I get to hang out with you ladies, I'm happy to do.
Yeah. So listen, tell us and our audience a little bit about yourself and the amazing things that you have accomplished.
Yeah, well, right at this moment in time, I have a marketing company that helps primarily women with LinkedIn and PR to build more influence and impact and income. I just want there to be more wealthy women in the world. I think women with money change the world. And I'm not excluding men. I just think women don't feel as included with LinkedIn. It feels very left brain and corporate, and I just want them to really feel the beauty of it, because it's really where the opportunities lie, I think. But it's not like I woke up one day and said, this is what I'm going to do. There was this crazy roller coaster that happened from, 25, 35 million years ago to today. Right. So, I, I have owned companies in like premise-based businesses. I sold the company and went to work in corporate for a while, but kept on some clients. But really, my story really started when my kids started getting old enough that they didn't need me. They needed me around, but I wasn't really, doing as much with them. So I started taking more classes and online marketing and things like that. And I started to really build out the brand of where I am today and learning what I'm doing. And initially I was doing social media marketing and social media consulting, because I really like consulting. I love strategy. I love brainstorming. And, I quickly realized that the broader I am, frankly, the broker I was, and people really wanted people that were more niched. So I started to think about, what is it that I'm doing? And I was driving everybody back to LinkedIn because my experience, my years of sales experience really was relationship-based sales. So I really wanted the people I was working with to understand the power of their personal brand. And it kind of developed from there. And, where we are today is really, most of the people we work with are in some kind of transition. Maybe they're leaving corporate and they're moving into entrepreneurs, and maybe they're just looking to level it up. Right. But either way, we help them focus on, what happens when people check you out? Do you check out? Do you feel ready to step into that next place? And are you building relationships with the kind of people that can help you make that transformation successful? So that's what we're doing.
Love it.
So you really help people overcome imposter syndrome, which is a lot of what we talk about, right?
Absolutely. And we do it not because there's anything wrong with it. The fact of the matter is, the reason we incorporate that into what we do is because everybody has that. Everybody has imposter syndrome. I actually have, it's right here. So I'll tell you a quick, tiny little story about that myself. We've shifted our offerings a little bit as we moved into 2024, and we're incorporating a lot more done for you opportunities with what we're doing, which of course is increasing the price, right? Because my costs increase. So I was starting to have this, oh my gosh, moment, like, how much are we charging for this kind of thing? And then one day in the mail, I still to this minute don't know this. So if you're watching this and you were the one that sent me this book came in the mail. It didn't come from Amazon. It just came in an envelope addressed to me. people send me books all the time because I have a podcast and Good Girls Get Rich if you're interested. So, but usually it comes with a media kit that says, hey, you may want to read this book. Let us know if you want to review, interview the author. Nothing. Just this book came in the mail. So I'm like, all right, universe, I hear you. I hear you. I have a little
For those
imposter
of us
syndrome
listening, the
as we're
book is
stepping
called.
into the next level, so I'm reading this book because
So
I have
for
my own
those
version
who are
of it.
listening and can't see, it's called Worthy, right? What's the and who's the author?
The author is Jamie Kern Lima. I'm
Okay.
assuming that's how you say it. Yeah, I don't know how I got it, but
So
I'm excited. The point really is everybody has this, right?
Mhm.
So it's not a matter of trying to overcome it. It's a matter of how do I deal with it? Like, what do we do? How do I address it and move forward?
So in that same vein, you said you had a business, you went to corporate, you had a bit, you're a mom, as
Mhm.
all of us are on this podcast, and many of us out there. But all of that is really hard. So I imagine, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but you faced imposter syndrome several times in your journey. So do you have any examples of that? And what did you do about it?
Yeah, yeah. Well, I I remember I was I was early on I was starting to get asked to speak about LinkedIn in a lot of places, and I was at a giant conference speaking about LinkedIn, giant conference, and a woman came up to me and she's like, listen, we work with authors and we need somebody to help them with their social media. Are you interested? And I'm like, sure, I'm interested. To this day, if you're listening, you now know, like, you were my very first real giant client. Do
You
you know
had
what I mean?
no idea what you were
Right?
doing.
Like,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, sure, I can do this. And I was like, and then they're like, I met them in New York at this really cool place. And I started working with these authors, had books in the windows of, be it Barnes and Nobles on Fifth Avenue. You know what I mean? Like, but you know what? I also leaned back into, I know what I'm doing. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? I know what I'm doing. But so it isn't about, so for me, when I'm trying to overcome imposter syndrome and when I'm helping other people do it, it isn't about like fake it till you make it, because it's not, I wasn't faking it. It was more about knowing that I had this skill and
Mhm.
owning that and saying, all right, even though it may not have, I might not have had the actual testimonials for it because I never actually did that exact thing. Right. But there's probably 25 more examples of that.
Mhm.
I ended up at that same conference in the middle of a couple years later, in the middle of the trade showroom floor with a microphone, you know what I mean? For the whole day, running workshops for the whole day. Right. And it's just a matter of kind of just going like, all right, like what, why not? Right. How hard can this
But
be?
You're
So
You're saying
yeah.
that so nonchalantly, and I want to. I remember doing the same thing. I remember I built my first website. It was 50 pages. This was like a dozen years ago
50
for
pages. Wow.
$500. Like, I had
Yeah.
no idea what I was doing. I mean, today that would be like $50,000.
Right.
And
Right.
but I made it up and I nailed it and I did a good job. And you learn from that. But I think there's a difference between successful people and people who are struggling to be successful. And that's that they're willing to do it in spite of. They're willing to try in
Right.
spite of. They're willing to put the risk in themselves or confidence in themselves that I
Right.
don't quite know how to do this, but I'm capable of figuring it out because I can apply these learnings and these skills to this. And there's a lot of people out there who just won't do it. And I
Yeah.
think getting our children to do that, getting our teams to do that, encouraging others to do that is so critical to success. It's so
Yep.
important to just maybe, I know you said not fake it till you make it, but fake it till you make it. But you're not really faking it. You're faking it a little bit.
Right. Right. You're kind of stepping into the, like, dressing for the job you want,
Exactly. But you got to
Right.
walk the walk, man, and talk the talk
Right.
because I mean, I just had a conversation with somebody I'm mentoring the other day, and they don't want to try because they're afraid they'll
Well,
fail.
and that's exactly it. And we're so many women are so focused on what people think of them, or what, like, there's studies that show if there's a job, a job opening and there's 10 requirements, a man will apply for that job if he's got 4 of those 10
Mhm.
requirements. A woman will not apply unless she has all 10, and it's really not, it's not about going for jobs you're not qualified for. It's knowing that you've got the capacity to learn those other things,
Yeah.
right? And stepping into that with confidence in yourself.
I feel like somewhere in my career in the last like 15 or 20 years, I went from I remember I'd be up at night. How am I going to figure this out? Like I said I could do it, but I got to do it. And somewhere more recently, more than in the middle, I I got so comfortable with not knowing how to do something that I feel like that's the ultimate. Like I am comfortable being uncomfortable, and like nothing phases me anymore. And that is like the epitome of like overcoming imposter syndrome. And
Rachel, that is so smart. That's so smart. You're so right. You're so right.
and it takes a long time to get there. And there's always stumbling that will make your confidence falter. But that's the true moment. But in order to get there, you have to fail so many times that it doesn't hurt anymore.
Right.
And I
Right.
think that's the shift. You know, we talk, you know, imposter syndrome is real for everyone. But the lesson I think we learn from that is exactly what we're talking about here, which is we have to, as leaders, we now have to empower, encourage, and support the people around us to do exactly what you're talking about, because it isn't the skill of knowing what to do. It's the muscle of being willing to step into the unknown. And the reason I say muscle is because I believe that the more often you do it, you know, it was a cumulative effect for you, Rachel. You did it, you did it, you did it, you did it. And then all of a sudden, it's like, I've done this times. We'll have clients come to us and they'll say, well, have you done XYZ in ABC industry? And I will say, no, 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 no. But what I can tell you is my team does new every day.
Right.
We do
Right.
new.
Right.
We figure things
So
out.
we can draw parallels from experience.
Right. Exactly. So Karen, as you kind of look back, you know, where you were, where you are today, and maybe we've already covered it, but talk to us about kind of what is that one important lesson? I mean, first of all, I love what you said, the broader I am, the broker I get. Love, great lesson. Don't want to let that one go.
Right.
But is
And that goes for
there,
all aspects of your life. You
goes
can't
for
do
all
everything.
aspects,
Say
right?
no. Yeah.
You
Right.
cannot be all things to all people. So is there a lesson that kind of rises to the top that our audience would benefit from?
Yeah. Yeah. You know, I think the lesson that I think most people that I speak to need to learn first, I call it like flipping the funnel. So many people think, all right, I'm starting to do this. I need to charge $10 first, and then I can charge $25, and then I can charge $50. And if you are just out of diapers and you've never done anything before, yes, charge $10, right? But if you have any expertise at all, you have to learn how to price what you're doing so that you can step into it confidently. And I went to a networking meeting and it was in Northern New Jersey. Now you guys are Jersey girls. So I was in Northern New Jersey and it was all women. And they asked everybody, like, what is it that you want from this group? And everybody said, I'm a coach. I want a client. I sell pens. Who wants to buy a pen? I sell books. Who wants to buy a book? Right? I'm a doctor. I need a patient. And I was every single person. And when it got to me, I was like, listen, here's the deal. What I want is everyone in this room to know, to next time they ask you this question, to say, I sell pens. Who do you know that needs a distributor that wants 10,000 of these pens? I'm not telling you not to sell pens anymore if you sell great pens, but you need to think about what is the biggest income opportunity for what you do. And so many women go bottom up instead of top down. And I think, I've had so many conversations with women like where I'll say, okay, it's a $5,000 offer. It's a $10,000 offer. And I'm like, what if we doubled it? What if it was a $20,000 offer? And then they don't say things like, well, then I can buy a Mercedes. They say things like, oh my gosh, well, then I can go on site once a month. I can do assessments for all of their employees. And I'm like, listen to yourself. Isn't that win-win? You now need half as many clients to reach your income goals, and your clients are getting more from you, right? But we're so afraid to think bigger when it comes to pricing. So I think that's the number one thing that changes the game for people the fastest, because then you can pay people to help you do all the millions of things you think you need to do as an online business owner, as a business owner with an online presence.
I love
that, Donna, you do a whole thing, a whole seminar on charging what you're worth, right?
Charging what you're worth. Absolutely. From day one. I don't care if you're doing it, if you're, and I love the idea of bottom up. I work the same way. What do you need to work? What do you need to do to get it?
Well, I heard two really important lessons here. One is the bottom up, like working smart. But the second, and this goes back to the whole imposter syndrome thing, is that people don't always feel like they're worth what they're charging. And I again, somebody else I'm mentoring, they keep waiving fees or, doing extra work. I'm like, you're cheapening yourself and you're training your clients to expect things from you that they shouldn't be expecting. So the way that you put yourself out there and the value that you think you have and the value that you portray is how others start treating you. And it all
Yep.
starts with you. And that's so important of like, this is what I'm worth, take it or leave it. And most of the time they'll take it.
Right.
If
And
you're
if you double your prices and lose half of your clients, you're making
So
the same
what?
amount of money for
Doing
half the
work.
amount of work.
Exactly.
Right. Like, so, who isn't it better to be in the position when you are working with a client and you realize they need something that's red, that's 20 times more money than something blue, which you thought was less, and you've got the budget to do that,
Yeah.
instead of saying, oh my gosh, I'm already out of budget for this client.
Mhm.
What am I going to do? I need to give them this, but I can't now because like, don't be afraid to give yourself a big fat juicy budget so you can way over deliver.
Yeah,
Love
100% agree. So, okay, Karen, we're running up on time. I have one last question for you. If you could go back, what would you and give your past self advice? What would you tell yourself?
Oh my gosh. I would, I guess it still comes back to that imposter syndrome and confidence. About a year ago, I went to College of New Jersey, right? So I went to the campus. I was driving in that area. So like, oh, let me drive around the campus. And I literally was like crying as I was driving around the campus thinking, would 18-year-old Karen have ever believed that, a million-year-old Karen is driving this beautiful car, having this great business, having a microphone in her hand in front of many thousands of people all the time, right? Like, so it really comes down to, it's not that it's not that I didn't wake up one morning with this dream of this business, right? But I think it's about having the confidence. I spent a lot of years doing what I thought I needed to be doing, what everybody else told me I needed to be doing, and not really having the confidence to kind of just say, I'm going to do it this way. I thank you for your opinion, but I'm going to do it this way, right? And I think that is the one thing. Just trust yourself. You can create a business or a job or a career that supports whatever it is you want your life to look like. You want to be home at 3:00 for the school bus? You can make that happen. You want to work for a month from Italy? You can make that happen, right? But it's about having confidence in your ability to create that.
Love that. Karen, I always love spending time with you. Tell our audience how they can reach you.
Yeah, well, first of all, check out Good Girls Get Rich, the podcast. I love being able to talk to you every week about that. I'm at Karen Yankovich across all social media. So certainly connect with me on LinkedIn. Let me know that you heard this. In fact, even better, take a quick screenshot of wherever you're listening to this and post it on your favorite platform, and, tag Donna and tag Rachel and tag me, and we'll all do our best to share it with our audiences. So we're all lifting each other up, and we can connect that way as well.
Love that.
Awesome. Thank you, Karen. And so until we see you next time, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having me.